Hello everyone, welcome to another video with me, and I am working on my 6 Series. It's a very small little bit of work that I'm doing to it, but hopefully it will make a big difference. Now it is in the interior, and as you guys have seen recently, I've done a lot of work to the interior with the lights and those kind of things, but this is something a little bit different. I'm looking at changing over some stuff on my steering wheel. So what have I got right now? Ta-da! So I've got this leather trim that I'm going to be putting on to the steering wheel, as well as I've got a replacement one of these. But this is from a sport model, but I really like the way the sport model has this kind of metallic looking feel to it on the sides. The M Sport model does have this rubberized texture, which over time you might be able to see just here and here. It just gets worn out, and plus these bits here of mine, they're starting to show a little bit of wear, whereas this one is just a lot newer. So I'm going to be looking at doing that swap, as well as looking at fitting this on. So I'm actually going to do a quick test fit of this right now and then take it from there. So as I said, first off, I'm going to test fit this before I take anything off. So let me just see. Just want to make sure that they've sent me out the right one. God, this is so tight. How do you supposed to even get this on there? So I'm just checking to make sure that there's enough material everywhere. Which over here it looks like it's going to be a bit tight. Okay, well, we'll figure this out in a bit. So difference between the sports steering wheel, as I said earlier, one of the bits is the trim piece here, but the main difference is actually between the steering wheels themselves. I'm not sure if there's a size difference. I think they're the same size. Yes, they are. But the sports one doesn't have the grip here for your thumbs, where the M Sport one does. It's just a little bit thicker in that area. Other than that, I think everything else is basically the same. That does require me to first undo the battery terminals, because I do not want the airbag to explode onto my face. And there's also a screw piece that I need to get into from the bottom. A lot of people, they turn the steering wheel different ways. You can do that. If anything, I'll probably look at turning it to the left so I can get good access to it from outside the car. And then I'll be able to look into setting everything else up. One thing that I would recommend is obviously moving your seat as far back as possible, so that you have as much space as you can for working on everything. And yeah, well, we'll take it from there now. This is it's another day, and this is the challenging part right now of getting this on. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hook it through from the bottom. Make sure the sides are on there, and then yeah, I'm just gonna have to stretch it around. Actually, that works out kind of easier if you do the top and bottom first. Use the sides over here. This part is actually probably the most important part. You need to make sure that this is all actually on in the right place, because if it's slightly tilted the wrong way, then you're just gonna cause a lot of headache later on. So you can see that it's slightly too much that way, so I need to readjust it one way or another. The bottom looks straight. You see the sides now. That looks about right. Perfect. It's better to get this bit done while it's on the car still, because that way the steering wheel is kind of held in place. So I got a really small little screwdriver, and the hole at the bottom of the steering wheel is going to be what I'm going to be trying to reach in and disconnect. Pop this out. This is hard work. This is the hardest bit of taking the steering wheel off. This thing is so awkward to take out. Right, this screwdriver, flathead, managed to squeeze real high up and then get this thing off. Disconnect that very quickly, and make sure you leave that somewhere safe so that it doesn't explode in your face. So I'm going to be swapping these two over. So I'm just going to get the right bits for me to disconnect that one, put this one in, but I'm actually going to use my old buttons, because my old buttons actually have a little bit less wear. So I've got the T20 on here now. There we go. Pop this off. There's literally just those two screws. Make sure, yep, that's how you disconnect that one. So my steering wheel is going to become a bit of a hybrid. Basically, it's going to have the Sport lower trim, but the rest of the steering wheel is going to be M Sport. Now I know people might be like, oh, it's not an M Sport piece, but I just feel like this trim actually matches the rest of the interior just a little bit nicer. And this has started to show some signs of wear and tear. Instead of needing to disconnect everything else, I'm just gonna one off. I can comfortably disconnect this one. Out with the old, in with the new. Let's get my screws back. Perfect. Now what I can do is, while I've got all this off, the reality is I don't actually need to tuck it all in underneath right now, but while I do have it all off, it's just a bit easier. What I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to put this all back in. You can actually tuck. What they do is, with the kit they actually give you this is to help you tuck everything underneath. And I'm actually going to do it that way instead of tucking it all underneath now. If I need to, I will take the airbag and everything off again in the future. But for the time being, I just feel like this is going to be a better and easier to follow way of dealing with it all. This also means that I don't have to stress right now of making sure everything's in the right place before I put all this back on. I can just slot it all in place now. Connect that back in. Push the airbag in. That's that part of my steering wheel sorted, and now I'm going to be dealing with the rest of the installation. So this is where we are at right now. It's the next day. I was basically Eid yesterday, but yeah, everything's basically aligned up where I needed it to be. I'm just going to double check. I think it needs to move slightly to the right, but once I get it all lined up, I'll start stitching away, getting the tapes in the right places as well. I think it's very important to make sure you get the tape in these areas here where there's curvatures, okay, and at the back behind the seams, just to make sure that you don't have any loose leather at the end of this. So that's one thing that I'm going to be keeping aware of, and I think you all should too. But it's a very different looking steering wheel design that I've gone for. Main reason is because I just thought it looked very luxurious in the photo, so we'll see how it comes out at the end of this. Another thing as well is I actually have this needle here, which is slightly different. It's curved. It works really good when it comes to doing stitches like this on interiors, but the kit does come with straight ones just inside here, so you could use either. It's completely down to yourselves. But because I've got this one, it's one for my dad, I just thought I'm going to look at using that one. So you get the double-sided tape, you can just tear it off like so. And you got so much of this tape given to you that I genuinely feel like it's the best thing to do is just to make sure it's applied in all the right areas. Because the thing is if you're a professional in this industry, then you're more than likely going to have the right glues where you put it underneath the leather and you then stitch it that way. You know, that'll be the proper way of dealing with this. Okay, so for me, it's going to be these areas that I want to make sure I get a really good stick from. Okay, it's just like anything else that you can do with a car. It's all about the prep work. It's all about the stuff you do before you get into it. Alright, and then it's time to apply some at the back. And there you go. That's basically everything applied. I probably will apply some more tape later on once I've got everything into the right places to do the back of the seam, because this back area, it's not actually got anywhere where you can tuck it into. But that's the majority of everything done. Now I can look at pressing everything into place. Reason why I am actually pressing a lot of this into place right now is because then I can 100% make sure that these areas are in the right place. I'm just going to apply a little bit more tape just at the bottom areas. Perfect. Now it is time to get my thread. So let's get the thread prepared for all of this, and then we can start stitching it all up. So real quickly, at the moment you can see I've got a problem where whenever I'm squeezing this, it's creating a little wrinkle just here. So just there is creating a wrinkle. So I think I'm gonna actually take this all off and start again. I do actually think this is going to be easier to do with the steering wheel off the car. So here's what I've done. I started off from here and I've continued on. I continued on the seam to get it over here. Yes, it looks very stretched here, but unfortunately that's the only way around it really. But you get the right join at the top. And then I've just disconnected this piece for the time being from the needle. Like I said, it does look stretched here. There's not really a huge amount you can do there because that's just the shape of everything. I can maybe try and pull it in a little bit more, but I'm happy with that for the time being. If I can pull it in a bit more later, I will, by just undoing these bits and redoing it up. But you don't want to pull too much there and then make it too tight over here. So I'd rather leave that for the way it is there and then work on this side afterwards. But basically, main thing to do here is start off from close to the end, work your way in, and now that the rest of the thread is loose, you can focus on doing the rest of it without having the stress of, is it going to line up, is it not? This is probably the most beneficial if you have like a center point at the top here. Stitch that bit at first and then work your way around and around. Probably do the same over on these bits here as well. I'm going to start from these corners and work my way through from there, and then not worry about the edges until I get to them later on. I want to carry on doing the rest of it, and I'll get back to you once I'm at the next stage of where I need to go with all of this. So everyone, I've just disconnected the battery again. I've taken off the airbag and I'm going to look at removing the trim. And then you got the little pins that hold it in. So tight over at the bottom already. I'm actually not going to disconnect the little clips here because I don't want to break them, to be honest with you, and I have a strong feeling I will end up breaking them. So I'm just disconnecting these from here and then look to just finishing it all off. And so that is the steering wheel. It's a little bit loose over here. I wish I had done that a bit tighter. I might look at redoing that in the near future. Yeah, you'll just be able to just undo everything and just stitch it back up, but that's how it is. This is how it looks. There's a couple of areas that I wish I had done differently. This area here for some reason gets a little bit of a bubble every so often, and the back there's a little bit of a crease just here, but in all fairness, for the way it looks right now, but that's how it looks. And I'll be honest with you, I love it. I actually think this is such a different looking steering wheel. It feels so nice to hold with the leather here and the perforated sides, and yeah, it just ties in really nicely with the whole black and red. So I'm really happy with this. And I also really like how this piece has come out here. I know it's part of the sport trim, but I just think it just matches the interior just a lot more. I just feel like it just looks more like the actual look of the car than the M Sport one, which is really contradictory, but it feels more GT. Look at this compared to like these bits here. Obviously I've got my phone holder here and stuff. It just fits nice. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. It's honestly been a lot of fun getting this on. Honestly, I'm really happy with this. If I had a two-tone interior, you would have been able to do this bit in a different color, and I think that would have just looked really smart. Like I said, first proper attempt of doing this style steering wheel. The seams actually come out really nice. Let me show you guys. You can see that it just matches up so well. It just matched up much better than I've seen other people do it online. So yeah, I'm, like I said, really happy with the way this come out. If you do want to purchase one just like this, link is in the bio. There's plenty of styles, and the people that I got it from, they will literally custom make this to whatever you want. Mine was originally two-tone with even a strip down the middle here, but I had all of that changed over. They've done it exactly the way I wanted it to be, so thank you very much for that. But yeah, like I said, link is in the description down below. I hope you all enjoyed this video and found it entertaining and useful. If you did, please leave a like and also subscribe if you want to see more content from me. You know, the 7 Series just over there, and the Civic and the E30, all sorts of stuff on my channel, as well as my brother's Skyline GTR. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out and keep building your dreams.